Hello everyone, welcome to part 3 of this tutorial series. Hope you've enjoyed the first 2 parts of this series. And let's get right into it. Alright, so where we left off, we had some simple physics. Last time I kind of cut off abruptly. It's because I was using a very limited recorder, and it limited my amount of screen time, so I was running out actually. But I got a new one, so But anyway, yeah. So let's get right into it. So let's start by creating a block. I'm gonna call it set, and I'm going to run off that screen first. Drag this over here, and drag this to the olive, and then put this in cut square. So yeah, and alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to make so that, because right now you can see the square is always in the center of the screen. He never goes out of the center. And something I think would look nicer is if he's kind of lagged behind a little, so he wasn't always directly in the center. So to do that, you're going to make 2 new variables. Call it x, another one, and call it y. Alright, go to this touching, and I'm going to say y. And y. And x. And x. Okay, stop that. Oh dear. Okay, go to your physics. Wait, no, you don't have any. Wait, no, physics. Where is it? Oh, there. Okay, right here. And where you have all this change scroll x and blah blah blah, you're gonna say change x. Change x. And here, change y. X. And then x. And then right here, y. And then right here, say change y. But right now, what'll happen? Oh yeah. Also, quickly, just draw a square at x, be x, and y. So right now, and you want to set x and y to, so you can set x to 0, y to 100, and then you can set scroll y to 0. Okay, so click the green flag, and you can see now he's no longer centered. But we do want the scrolling to follow to an extent. So at the end here, you can grab a change, and you're gonna change scroll x by, duplicate that, change scroll y by, and grab a round and put it in scroll x, and put a divided by in there, and put a minus sign in the left hand side. Put an x minus scroll x divided by, I'd say 2. You don't need the scroll x to drag too much, it's mostly the scroll y. So duplicate this and say y, scroll y, and divided by, you could do like 4. So that, good. And so what's going on here is, so just imagine, if we were to take away that divided by 2, so just imagine, the player's x position is 100, and the scroll x is 0. X minus, or 100 minus 0 is 100, so it would change it by 100. And so if you didn't have this divided by, it would actually just set the scroll x to x, and so the player would be in the center of the screen again. But the divided by smooths down, smooths it down a little bit. And something we're gonna add next is something that'll make it look even more smooth. Because right now I can see when you click the right arrow key, it goes kind of choppy. Or like it's like really sudden. So this X velocity is gonna do a little bit more. So right here, you can stop the project. Get rid of this X velocity, both of these, and I'm gonna say change X velocity by 1 and change X velocity by -1. And then after that, grab a set X velocity 2 and then a times X velocity times 0.9, which reduces it a little bit. And then next, you're gonna say change X by X velocity. And so right now, see, the movement already is just a lot smoother. Now, next, we need to do something about the Y velocity right now. It's no bueno. So, what we're gonna do is we are going to say, down here, change Y by -5. Duplicate that. One right here. Say change Y velocity. Oh, we don't have one yet. That's right. Create a variable and call it Y velocity. So it'd say change Y by Y velocity, and change Y velocity by negative, I'll say -3, no, that would be too big, so -1 should be good. Alright, and then, so if we test that out, whoa. Oh, well, something we need to do is you need to grab an if, put it around here, around the repeat until, say if touching is equal to true. And then at the end of the repeat until, say set Y velocity to 0. So click the green flag. Okay, another thing you want to do is set X velocity to 0 and set Y velocity to 0 in the beginning. Like that. And now, see, everything is looking really good. Now something, I don't know if you've noticed, but it looks a little bit like the player kind of sinks into the ground a little bit. So to get rid of that, go to here, grab a plus, put 1 right here, just put that right there. So like, and there you go, just like that. And then you can also grab another plus 1, and put it right here. You don't need to do it for the X because the X seems to be fine. And just like that, see, it looks pretty good. So, next, what we're gonna add is jumping. So to start, you can stop the project, but create a new variable and call it in air. Okay. In the beginning, you want to set in air to 10. It just set it to a decently big number, like, yeah. And inside of physics, at the end, say change in air by 1. And then inside of here, say set in air to 0. Alright, so if you look at in air, see like going between different values. And then up here, after the key left arrow and the key right arrows, grab another if, to if key up arrow is pressed, and a less than in air is less than 6. So set y velocity to this is really up to you. I'm gonna say 12. Sounds like a good number to me. So right there. And wow, just like that, you got jumping. So what's next? Alright, something we need to add is collision, because right now it's at the beginning. Quickly just something I just realized, you never run setup. So make sure to run setup right there. But duplicate this and encode one higher up. So say you could do one to the right. So 100 and y 100. Okay. Say 200 for the y. Okay. Now if you try hitting your heads, you'll notice you get shot right up to the top. Reason for this being, right here, the moment if we change the y by y velocity, so you're like hitting your head, it thinks you're landing, and so it says repeat until you're not touching anything anymore, and it sticks you up. So stop the project and you grab an if then else. Grab a greater than and y velocity. If y velocity is greater than 0, which means you're moving up, you want to change y by -1. Otherwise, you want to change y by 1. And inside of the else is where you put the set in error to 0. I'll show you what happens if you don't. If you just put it right there, and if you go, you'll notice you can stick onto the ceiling. I mean, it doesn't sound so bad to me. Like, it would be a cool thing to have, but for mine, I don't want that. So put the set in error inside of the else. So stick. Right. Next, we are gonna create a block called reset. Reset. Right. Scroll up and okay, stop the project and stick all of that right there. So scroll x and scroll y to 0, so x to 0, y to 100, x velocity to 0, y velocity to 0, and it to 10. By the way, the reason we set it to 10 and not 0 is because if you set it to 0, then they can, starting out, when they like first start out on the level, they can jump. So if I were to click the green flag while I was holding my I jump automatically the moment I click the green flag, and you want them to fall. So say 10. All right. Oh yeah. So the reset. Reset. Okay. In the beginning, you want to reset. And so put them back at the beginning. And down here, after you change scroll x by all that, put an if. Say if scroll x is less than 0. Then set scroll x to 0. Right. If you look at this, you'll notice if you go over here, the player, it stops scrolling with the player, which is nice. And you want to duplicate that actually, and put one after the y. So say if scroll y is less than 0, then set scroll y to 0. So what'll happen right now? Now if you go like that, it just keeps falling. But you also want to have some depth. So you want the player to go back to the beginning if he goes to the bottom. How are you going to do that? Say if is less than. If y is less than -180, then reset. You can stick that right here. So Go like that. And just like that, you go back to it again. Now, something I think would be nice to add is to make so that the player doesn't just snap right back to the beginning. Instead, the scroll stays the same, but then zooms back and catches up. So, to do that, stop the project. Take out the set scroll X and scroll Y to 0, and put that in the beginning. Now, click the green flag again, run it, and then you can see when you die, it like flashes back to the player. Like that, it's pretty cool. But it doesn't just automatically snap back. Alright, before I end this, one last thing we're gonna add is wall jumping. So, go inside of the change X, Y, or the wall collision for the X right here, and grab an if then else, put this entire repeat until inside of the else, say if key up arrow pressed. So if the key up arrow is pressed, then it won't run this. And then grab an if then else, less than 0, XL is less than 0, set X velocity to 10. Otherwise, set X velocity to -10. So if you're moving to the left, it'll rebound you back, setting the X velocity to 10. But if you're heading this way, it's set it to -10. Or if you're heading this way, sorry. Alright, and then at the end, say set an error to 0. And grab a change, and then change X by X velocity. Reason being, if you don't, then but down here, after it changes the Y by Y velocity, it'll think that it's just hit its head or landed because it's touching. But in truth, it's from all this because it won't be running the script. So you need to change X by X velocity, which will get it out of the wall. So now, go like that. Just like that, you've got some nice wall jumping. And I think that's a great place to leave off this tutorial. We've got good physics now, a death. It's really looking very good. And so yeah, save it, give yourself a pat on the back. And yeah, see you in the next tutorial.